Chiefs Kingdom, what's going on? Happy Tuesday. We appreciate you joining us on what is a sad Tuesday, to be quite honest with you. But that's all right. We're going to still try and have some fun. We appreciate everybody in the chat. I already see Ty, man. I already see Tony Fuentes. I see the Bright Wolf. I know that all my guys got my back and are chilling with me here on this Tuesday, even though the Chiefs took an L yesterday. That's all right. We digress. We continue on. And as Bill Belichick once said, it's on to Cincinnati. Who you got, by the way, tomorrow, this weekend's game with Kansas City and Cincinnati? I want you to spam KC. I want you to spam SIN. If you're going with the Bengals, let me see what you got. What's up, Ty, man? We got Tony spamming KC. Everybody's starting to pile in here. We got over 50 people. I want to see who's in the chat. Let me know. Anybody who spams KC, you're getting a shout out. We got Anthony Martinez. We got Tony Fuentes. We got Lisa Cheney. We got Jay Kaufman. We got TH, Liam Jones, Ty Man, Paul D, Amos, Dark Savage, and Jay Kaufman, along with Ty Man, the Buckeye, still spamming those KCs. Listen, guys, the fact that we're here, the fact that we're talking, the fact that we're still spamming KC shows the loyal and true pride to the Kansas City Chiefs, and I love it. Lamoni Robinson, Jordan Wright, Ferdinand is in the chat. Edward is in the chat. Jay is in the chat. Michael Peters is hanging out with us today. We got Deborah Lewis also in the chat. It's a good day to have a great day, and that's what we're going to do, even though the loss happened yesterday, because it's on to Cincinnati, and we don't need to worry about yesterday. We'll talk a little bit about it, kind of digress, or rather digest what happened, and see what can be done. So we got Georgia spamming the KCs in the chat. We got TH and Ty Man still going at it. We got the Bright Wolf. We got Jay Kaufman, and we got Edward saying Chiefs Kingdom. Man, I appreciate y'all coming and hanging out with us. I know it's not exactly the greatest thing. Terry Vaughn in the chat, Tony Fuentes, all hanging out with us, having a good time, and that's what we like. Listen, these Tuesday live streams are to go and talk with you guys, have a good time, and that's exactly what we're going to do, but got to get to some business for that, so we're going to talk about our sponsor on today's show, and that is Prize Picks. I'm telling you, Prize Picks is the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports, and if you're not doing it, then I don't know what you're doing. You see, Prize Picks is a skill-based, real money daily fantasy sports game, and it's really simple to play. You pick 2 or more players going 2 to 6, and then you pick more than or less than on their Prize Picks projection stats. I've got one in for football here on the Saturday game with the Lions taking on the Cowboys. I've got the more on passing yards for Jared Goff and Dak Prescott, and I've got the more on Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's on my fantasy team. I'm going to put some money on him as well with Prize Picks. I got 5 here to win. Guess what? 30. Pretty good math right there. You can go put your entries in and get a $100 deposit match. You go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use that code CLNS for a first deposit match. It's right there on the bottom of your screen, or we're going to put it in the chat if you want to go check that out. Prize Picks is super awesome because they also offer a reboot policy, so that if one of those players got injured in the first half, that player is going to be rebooted. And guess what? Prize Picks is the only daily fantasy sports platform with an injury insurance policy. I'm telling you, go check it out. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what makes Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use that code CLNS for a first deposit match of up to $100. Shout out to Prize Picks. It's daily fantasy sports made easy. It's in the chat right now. Where you watching from? Shout out your city. I know we got Paul Amos from. I'm going to wait till he puts it in the chat because I think that's one of my favorite things to say here, as I know where Paul is from, but I like to say it every time. Tony Fuentes, everyone. I want to see Justin Jefferson and Patrick Mahomes. Don't we all? Don't we all? Unfortunately, I think he would cost an arm and a leg. Tony Fuentes coming in from Dallas, as per usual, hanging out with us. We're having a good time here, and I got to see where you're watching for. Freddie, oh gosh, this is going to be a tough one. Tappahannock, Virginia. Freddie, did I get that right? Tappahannock, Virginia. Michael Peters from Lawrence, Kansas. Hey, Jayhawks, but you live in the Philippines. That's cool. Olave or Rashee Rice? Have Jefferson and Puka in flex. I would say Rashee. Olave is good, but I don't trust his quarterback. I trust Rashee's quarterback. Dean Doe's in the car right now hanging out with us. I like it. Gilbert saying Tulare, California. I don't know if they're right. Freddie, I did get it right. From Tappahannock, West Virginia. Wakini, Kansas from Richard Martin. Don't forget to like the video. We got 60 plus people in here and only 10. And there it is, Paul Amos from Tonganoxie, Kansas. I love to say that. You know what I also love to say? my producer's name because it's a fun name to say. It's super fun, and we got him on here. You know him from yesterday. You love him from yesterday. It is Big Tex.
What's up, my man? How we doing?
Hey, we're having a good day, or at least we're trying to. Yesterday wasn't a good day, so we're having a better day today.
Getting a better day. Better day today. Bounce back day.
Bounce back day. That's a good way to put it. It's a bounce back Tuesday right here. Bounce back Tuesday. Got Jordan Wright from Kansas City, Missouri. Craig from Quincy, Illinois, hanging out with us. It's a good day. It's a good day. I got to ask, though, with the loss yesterday, do you still believe in this Chiefs team as we're still letting a little bit of people roll in here before we get this live show started? But do you still believe in this Chiefs team? I got to know what's going on. Type Y for yes and for no. We got one more question after this, and then we're going to start going into our live show. But I'm going to let people kind of file in. I know there's a line to get into this, so we're going to let people get in. We got a bunch of people typing Y, which I love to see. This is what I wanted. Tim Bowen from South Bend, Indiana. We got Michael, Paul, the Bright Wolf, Paul. I love to see it. Spam those Ys. Listen, you got to have faith. It's all about faith. The offense does look bad, but that's all right. Jordan Wright said it perfectly. Defense wins championships, and the defense, I would argue, is the second best defense in the NFL, and it may be close to the first. It's the Ravens and the Chiefs. They're the best two defenses in the NFL. We saw last night the 49ers defense can be beat. It can be beat, and it can be beat bad. I mean, granted, there was a lot of unfortunate turnovers, but still, the 49ers defense did not look the greatest. Same thing happened last year, Dean Duo. Not to this extent. Not to this extent, but yes. There was some problems last year with receivers. The problem is the Chiefs last year just found a way to win. This year, they can't find a way to win. They just lose these close games instead. They just lose them. Got a bunch of Ys. I like it. Machines look very lost. Yeah. Craig Gill, Y, a huge Y. I love it. Number 11 is the problem with the Chiefs. There's a lot of problems with the Chiefs. Marquez Valdes-Scantling is just one of them. Tony Fuentes and Ty Man still leading, and Paul Diamo still leading. There are three legends in the chat always hanging out with us. We appreciate that. All right. Well, we've talked about do you believe in him, but what is the problem on this team? Is it Matt Nagy? And if so, is it time for him to go? I want you to type F if you want to fire Matt Nagy, the offensive coordinator, or type K for keep. Is it important? It is important. He does not call the plays, but he does draw up the offensive schemes. And him and Andy Reid kind of converge on talking through plays. I just don't know who to blame at this point. And Matt Nagy, given his schemes, have just not looked good. Maybe it's time. The Bright Wolf, Dean Duo, Tony Fuentes, all saying F for fire. Unknown Raider guy. Man, you're in the wrong chat. Isn't the Raiders guy? Isn't Mitch live right now, bro? You got somewhere else to be? And we're happy to hang out with you. If you want to hang out here. You like us more, that's fine. Hang out here. Fire Matt Nagy, bring back Bieniemy. I'd hope so, man. Bring EB back. I wish. I just think Bieniemy is gonna go get a job somewhere else. Yeah, I gotcha. The Dean Duo saying yes. FAI, FD. I don't know what unknown Raider guys. Oh, he's doing F for fire. Raiders. What is this guy doing? Anyways, Freddie Owens saying EB. Why would we even fire Bieniemy? They didn't fire him. They just didn't renew his contract. And from what it seems like Washington outbid Kansas City on the new contract. So it wasn't like they fired him. It wasn't like they wanted him to go. They just got more money from Washington and smartly took the more money. I mean, I can't blame the guy. I do the same thing. Tex will do the same thing. Someone offers you more money, you're going to go take it, especially when you're doing the same job. I mean, that's just how it works. Unfortunately, welcome to America. If you're doing the same job and someone says, we'll pay you more to do the same thing, you're going to go take that. That's just unfortunate. Hire Alex Smith as offensive coordinator. I kind of like that, Dark Savage. That'd be cool. I like Zach Robinson over with Sean McVay, because if McVay retires and the Rams don't take Zach Robinson, I would love to have Zach Robinson as an offensive coordinator. Maybe that's the video we make. Maybe we do a little offensive coordinator replacement video, because it seems like everybody wants to fire him. We can do a little offensive coordinator replacement video sometime the next couple weeks if it keeps going bad. I'll tell you what, we have another bad week this week on offense. We're doing offensive coordinator replacements next week. Richard Martin, though, Nagy's not the problem. I kind of agree, but I just think like to me, everywhere he goes, he's been a poison. It doesn't really work where he goes. That's all right, though. All right, we're going to get this show started here in just a minute, but we do have a mailbag coming up, as always. So I want you to do me a favor, use hashtag Chiefs to get in line and try and get your question on the show. If you would like to guarantee that you are on the show, well, then do me a favor, you can super chat. We appreciate that. And plus, not only that, if you super chat, you're not just going to be the first one on the video, the first one on the mailbag. we're going to give you a personalized Chiefs chop. Our real ones know what that is. We're going to be talking as we do a little Chiefs chop with your name. So that's what comes with it. But otherwise, it's all right. Any super chat is thankful, but you don't have to. Using hashtag Chiefs is perfectly to get those questions. Lennon, Goofy Jace Uckerman. When did you add Goofy Jace, man? Change the Goofy in there. That's kind of funny. Here's what we got on today's show. We got 3 segments for you. We're going to give you the latest Chiefs rumors talking about Patrick Mahomes being frustrated with the play calling. In fact, seeming as though he wanted to call the plays himself. Just a lot of bad things happening. We're going to go through a Bengals preview. Haven't got to do a preview in a couple weeks. I think now with the Bengals being the first time we're playing them all season and it being an important game, it's a good time to talk about them. So we're going to talk about this game and what it means for both sides. And then, like I said, that mailbag using hashtag Chiefs or Super Chat. Get in here. And you can get in there. What in the world is unknown radar saying? The autumn wind is a pirate blustering in from the sea. With a rockling song, he sweeps along, swaggering boastfully. All right. He's having a fun time. Use hashtag Chiefs or Super Chat if you want to get on today's mailbag segment. Coming up as our third segment on today's show, as per usual here on our Tuesday live streams. But we're going to give you the latest Chiefs rumors talking about what to expect and what happened yesterday, what the Chiefs can do to fix it. All that coming up right here in just a moment. But without further ado, Chiefs Kingdom, let's get rolling on today's Tuesday live show. What went wrong yesterday? Well, what didn't go wrong, I think, is the better question to ask. There was so many things that I think the Chiefs could have done better at, but we're going to talk about every single thing and what exactly is in the cards for the coming weeks for this Kansas City Chiefs squad. All that coming up right here on the Chiefs Report by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Jay Sanders. Let's get right into it with what is wrong. So it's pretty obvious there is a divide between what this team basically is looking to achieve and what they have been achieving. You're not exactly where you thought you would be. If I'd have told Chiefs Kingdom at the beginning of the season you'd be 9-6 right now playing the Bengals, I think you would actually probably just lie down and die. I don't think that was even a thought, to be quite honest with you. I mean, heck, I'm going to be quite literal. I predicted the Chiefs to have 5 losses. I did. And I got ripped. People did not like it. But now we're sitting here at 9-6, and I wish we were 12-5. The max wins right now is 11. At best, you're 11-6. I mean, this team has just kind of fallen off a cliff all of a sudden, and there's multiple reasons to look at. We're going to talk about all of them. And let's kind of start with what can be done for these next 2 weeks. So you start with this wide receiver. You start with Patrick Mahomes and looking at how exactly you can go about this with the upcoming weeks. Because I'm not going to say that it was Patrick Mahomes' fault by any means. He looked like he was the only guy carrying out there, to be quite honest. But his stat line wasn't exactly a Patrick Mahomes stat line. Now, it's hard because you have this guy to such a high level, and you compare him to that high level every time he steps on the field. So when he goes out there and looks lost, when he goes out there and throws for 235, which some would call respectable, it doesn't seem that good because it's not Patrick Mahomes. He's the MVP. He is what is people are saying will be the GOAT. Well, you can't say that if this keeps happening. Now, again, I'm not going to blame this at all, Patrick Mahomes, because it's not his fault. I will say again, he looked like the only guy on that field that cared yesterday. Maybe Travis Kelce, but he cared when he was frustrated. But it seemed like Patrick was constantly, I want to get this done, I want to get this done. Nobody else really was. And it showed because he was rushing the ball as well. Obviously, you were out with Jerick McKinnon. He has that groin injury and is out for the season with IR. He may be back in the playoffs, but obviously you don't know at this point. And you have Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And you have Isaiah Pacheco back returning from that shoulder injury. But then he got a concussion. It was Pacheco that got injured. And now you have Mahomes, who is basically just trying to carry this team in every facet, in the running game, in the passing game, and sometimes the receiving game because these receivers just continue to drop the ball. It was funny. The CBS crew put up a graphic of how many drops the Chiefs had, and then they threw it to Travis Kelce, who dropped the next ball. I understand the frustration, and it's not just with the wide receivers or the offensive line anymore. He's frustrated with the play calling. And we saw this yesterday from Mahomes because there was multiple times where the camera caught him. One time, it was after a play had been called, and he goes, call the dang play already. It seemed like basically Matt Nagy and Andy Reid were struggling on the sideline to get the play into Patrick Mahomes, which is something that should not happen. Andy Reid's the one who calls the plays. Matt Nagy schemes it, and they converse on the sideline. This can't happen. You need to get the play in sooner, and that's one thing. And then he went to the sideline, and he mouthed, I could call a better game than this, or something of that nature, basically saying he's frustrated with these calls. Now, again, we're not professional lip readers. We don't know what he said. We probably will never know what he said because, well, he's not going to say what he said in the moment, in the fight of the game. It's just a hard time for Mahomes, and I understand it. It's a frustrating time for everybody, and he seems like he cares the most out of everybody on this team, even more than Andy Reid and Matt Nagy and every coach who has their jobs on the line right now. Not so much Andy Reid, but definitely Matt Nagy. Let's go back to Isaiah Pacheco. Now, he got a concussion in that game. Sam McDowell confirmed this after Andy Reid said it in his press conference. Now, this adds so much problems because you already have the wide receiver issues. You have Patrick Mahomes being frustrated. You have so many things just sitting here thinking, okay, how exactly can we go about this team in any other way than using the running game to identify ourselves? But this running back room is going to be hurt. This running back room is in complete disarray right now. If Pacheco is out for a certain amount of time with the concussion, which he's in concussion protocol, we don't know what exactly that means, how long he'll be out. But either way, if he's out, this running back room is in big, big trouble. And here's why. McKinnon is on IR. You're out running back. Pacheco is now your number one. So if he's out, you're out too. That leaves Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Michael Pirine, who was officially signed to the active roster just this past week and did not see any snaps. I just don't know what to do in this standpoint because the receivers aren't performing. The running backs are getting injured, and Mahomes is just going out there trying to do whatever he can. And yet he still shows confidence. He still continues to show his confidence and give that to his team. And I kind of agree with him in this thing that he said yesterday. He said this after the game. If we clean it up, we can beat anybody. I truly believe that. I do too. Do you believe in this Chiefs team, though? I think there's some fans that are starting to kind of give up hope. Let me know in the comment section, do you believe in this Chiefs team? I want you to type Y for yes. I want you to type in for no. What are we thinking, Chiefs Kingdom? Is it time to move on? Is it time to figure out something? I don't know. I think there's this. I still believe in this team. I think that Patrick Mahomes put it perfectly. The only team that is beating this team is the Chiefs. The Chiefs are beating the Chiefs. They're beating themselves. There has been multiple times, if you look back on pretty much every one of the 6 losses besides maybe 2, there is a clear way that the Chiefs beat themselves. Let's go back to week 1. That missed pass by Kadarius Toney that bounced in the hands of the Lions. That's a team who just won their division. You probably beat them on opening night if Kadarius Toney bats down every ball. There's a couple of other games. Yesterday, you gave the Raiders 14 free points in a matter of 7 seconds. It's all on you. If you can clean up these mistakes, you can beat pretty much anybody. But you have to clean up the mistakes. And it hasn't been cleaned up, and it's almost week 17 now. In fact, it is week 17 now. No more time. I'm losing hope. You got to figure this out, and it's now or never. It's also now or never for your Prize Picks entries because I'm telling you, Prize Picks is super fun to play, and you should be playing it pretty much every day. I keep playing it every day. In fact, it's been super, super fun. It adds so much excitement to the sports viewing experience. I find myself watching pretty much every football game now, and it's really, really fun. Now, you can also get a $100 deposit match if you go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS. Here are my entries for Saturday, as that's the next NFL game. I've got the more on Jared Goff, Dak Prescott, and Amon-Ra St. Brown on the passing yards for Goff and Prescott, and the more on receiving yards for Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm a more guy, and I think that's going to be an offensive game. It's in Dallas, and if you remember the last Dallas primetime game they had against the Seahawks, that was also a big offensive scoring game. I'm pretty sure we're going to see another one of those. Plus, Amon-Ra has been on absolute tear lately. I know the Lions just won their division, but I think they're going to still keep playing at a high level, especially with now a chance with that 1 seed in line after the Niners lost yesterday. Now, Prize Picks is a skill-based, real money-daily fantasy sports game. And, of course, with basketball season here, you don't have to just do NFL. You can combo your projections across the NBA and the NFL, so you can pick the more on, say, Jared Goff passing yards and Jason Tatum points. Once again, you can get a $100 deposit match by going to prizepicks.com/CLNS and using that code CLNS. So do yourself a favor and go check out one of the #1 daily fantasy sports app, Prize Picks, as they've got quick withdrawals. They've got easy gameplay and an enormous section of players and stat times. Once again, prizepicks.com/CLNS and use that code at CLNS for a first deposit match of up to $100. It's that code that you see on the bottom of your screen, and we're going to put it in the comments and in the description. So make sure you go check it out. There was one silver lining on this video, and that was Rashee Rice. And he really played well yesterday. Again, he saw 12 targets, which I still think is crazy. I actually thought he did not have that much, but he broke a rookie record. I think that's the thing we got to be focusing on. He broke the rookie record for Chiefs receptions. He had 71. That was the rookie. That was what broke the record. He's going to have so many more. I mean, this guy is a stud in his first year, a second-round pick out of SMU. I really like this pick. I think this may be a very underrated pick in Brett Veach's career, and it was really a shot in the dark. So I don't know how much credit I want to give to him, but Rashee Rice has been absolutely special, and honestly, he's been carrying this offensive team. If you look at the wide receiver numbers yesterday, him and Richie James combined for 100 yards. Travis Kelce had 44, and 42 of those came in the first half. I like that Rashee Rice had 12 targets. I don't like that Richie James had 3 targets, and he caught all 3 of them. I would love to see more of Richie James. I need to see more of Richie James. There seems like a problem in here. This week was the week to open it up. Your wide receiver room was hurt. You have Kadarius Toney, who was out. You have Sky Moore, who's on IR. McCall Hardman's not back from IR yet. This seemed like the perfect game to get those 2 names, not Rashee Rice and Marcos Valdes-Scantling, under them. Rashee Rice, you have Richie James. Under Kadarius Toney, you have Justin Ross. Use those 2 guys. And you didn't use them. Ross saw 1 target, and he caught it and got 3 yards. Richie saw 3 targets, and he caught all 3. And you didn't give him any more than that? I don't get it. The wide receiver issues on this team are starting to become not just with the actual receivers, but with the coaching staff and the way they're managing this entire team, from snap counts to the way they run routes. Like I said, Rashee Rice had 12 targets, but the routes that he was running weren't exactly the way that I think that they should play Rashee Rice. Now, I'm not getting paid millions of dollars to control an offense, but I like to think that my football knowledge is pretty high. At the same time, I look at these routes, and I don't understand why we're throwing a fade route to Rashee Rice when the whole thing on his draft board was speed, was route running, and was the ability to have the basically wherewithal to use his agility to get open. And we're throwing fade routes to him when we have a guy like Justin Ross, who was known for his high pointing abilities, was known for him getting up in those corner of the end zones, get the ball. And they didn't throw it to him. I'm just kind of confused because that was what we saw in the preseason. This preseason Chiefs team was exactly what I wanted this team to be. You have Justin Ross out there high putting the ball. You have Rashee Rice doing these agility routes and running down the field. Where has that been? We still see Rashee Rice running under routes, which I'm fine with if you throw him the ball. But Mahomes was really struggling to give it to him. There was 3 times where Mahomes was running around and he had Rashee Rice under on an open route. He didn't throw it to him. And I don't know if that's because he doesn't trust him. I don't know if he doesn't like the routes running. But it's just weird that you see Rashee Rice there. And then Richie James, who is back and is healthy, only sees 3 targets after Andy Reid last week said, oh, it's on me. I want to get more snaps for Richie James. He had 2 targets last week. He had 3 this week. That's not more, Andy. That's not more. Mahomes just looks hesitant. I kind of alluded to that with Rice. I think he just is hesitant with everybody at this point. I don't think it's a trust issue in some ways with some receivers. I think that is with others. But he's just hesitant with every single throw he makes. Maybe I'm seeing this wrong. Maybe I am. I want to know from Chiefs Kingdom. You watched the game yesterday. You saw the highlights. Does Mahomes look hesitant to throw the football to certain receivers? If you think he is, well, I want you to type H for hesitant. If you think that Mahomes trusts his receivers still, you think he's still in line and still trusts them, then I want you to type T for trust. I want you to get in the comment section and let me know what you think, because this is kind of one of those things where you look at it and see basically everything that you have to see from basically an eye point perspective of how exactly are we going to go about this, and can Mahomes start to feel that trust again? Because he says all this confident things in his press conferences, but there just looks like he isn't trusting him right there. And the fact of the matter is, I talked about Richie James. I talked about Rashee Rice. Marquez Valdez-Scantling getting 80% of the snaps yesterday and seeing just one target is about all I needed to know. He's not being trusted, and I can't blame Mahomes. But you got to figure something out here because there's 2 weeks. You're probably going to go to the playoffs. There's 2 weeks to figure it out. And when you get to the playoffs, records reset. Doesn't matter what you've done in the regular season. You just got to win. I believe the Chiefs can do that. They just got to figure it out again these last 2 weeks against two teams that aren't exactly the greatest teams with the Bengals and the Chargers. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We got 2 weeks left of the playoffs. I expect the Chiefs to be there. There is a pretty good possibility. They, honestly, at this point, they don't even need to win. They just need other stuff to happen. But they can secure it with a win next week once again. So do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. Go scroll down, the little red subscribe button. Press that. We're going to keep you covered on all things Kansas City Chiefs here until the playoffs and through the playoffs and even to the offseason, as hopefully it'll be a better offseason. And hopefully we'll be holding a Super Bowl trophy after all this. We'll have to see, though. We appreciate you watching. As always, Chiefs Kingdom. Peace out. All right, what do y'all think, guys? Think he trusts his receivers at all? Tony says he trusts him. I'm kind of interested to see what y'all say. Get rid of Travis Kelce to focus on Taylor Swift. That's funny. Curran Slater says hesitant. It's kind of what I'm thinking, man. He just seems hesitant. T for Rice and Watson. I agree. I think there's certain receivers he trusts. The fact that he was giving 12 targets to Rashee when he was running these crappy routes, I think he trusts him maybe more than people want to say. I think he maybe trusts him as a veteran-type guy when he's in his rookie year, which is really fun. H, because he always looks frustrated. I agree, Brandon. I think he's just always, frustrated. Gilbert, I agree. We all have trust. But I don't know if Mahomes trusts his receivers anymore. Yeah, even Kelce. I mean, Kelce's dropped some. Kelce's dropped a lot. It's just been tough, guys. Because, there's nothing really that Mahomes can do. It's all on him getting it to the receivers and just hoping they can catch it. So, you need another weapon, STH. You need another weapon 6 months ago, and Brett Veach sat on his hands. To be quite honest with you, if there's someone to blame, part of me says it's Brett Veach. H big time. Brett Veach just he didn't do anything this offseason. He got Rashee Rice, which I said in the video. It was a shot in the dark. I don't think he had any legitimacy behind it. Did it work out? 100%. Dude's a stud. I love that kid. But do I think that was planned? Do I think that was calibrated of we're not going to sign DeAndre Hopkins? We're not going to spend money on wide receivers. We're not going to find a way to manage these contracts? No, it wasn't like that. It was just going to do that. Yeah. Didn't even have to give a pick. I just don't know. There's part of me that says Brett Veach is on the hot seat. I understand this Chiefs team as a quote-unquote dynasty has been able to get to the AFC Championship a lot of years, but if you cannot win in these situations and you cannot still improve, it's tough. And listen, I'm going to say this. I may get a little bit of hate, but some of this is on Mahomes. I mean, it's not because of his play. I'm not talking about that. Dude's an amazing quarterback, and I think he is still one of the better quarterbacks of our generation. But he is taking a lot of money away. He wants to be the highest paid quarterback, which is nice and all. I'm glad. I want that for him. I think he deserves it. I think he's the best quarterback in the NFL and he deserves that paycheck. But there's also some want or need to say, does it matter more for money or does it matter more to go win a Super Bowl? I think that's what it could be. Bro, I've been the number one target day one. Right, Wolf. I got my route running going. I love Patrick Mahomes, guys, but I don't want to say that at all. I'm not here to bash on them, but it's just hard because he continues to try and make himself the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. They restructured his contract this year to make him the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, and it's not working. I mean, you can't draft wide receivers. You are signing the wrong ones. Marquez Valdez-Scantling for $14 million is ridiculous. It's Andy Reid should be the GM next season. All right, who's the coach, though, Curran Slater? That's the problem. I just don't know what's going on with the coaching situation there if you do that. I love Andy Reid. He should be in the organization. He's not the problem. I think he's had some struggling circumstances this year, but he's not the problem. Ricky Moore saying T for trust. Paul saying H for hesitant. Seen a lot of H's. There's a lot of things going on, but man, it's rough. But as Bill Belichick once said, I know we're Andy Reid here all day, but as Bill Belichick once said, it's it's on to Cincinnati. Time and the Browns do play Thursday. They play the Jets, don't they? Kind of an interesting Thursday night game. Browns and Jets. Maybe if we release MVS could afford a receiver like D-Hop or T. Higgins. I would like T. Higgins. That's who I want. I want T. I love T. If I got to be quite honest with you, the Chiefs get bounced in the first round, it's T. Higgins or bust. Like I'm straight up saying, if you do not get T. Higgins, I don't know what to do. You can spend that money on him. You cannot sign Chris Jones. Chris Jones has been okay, not great, not worth $30 million a year. You have George Karlaftis. You have other people who have been really good. You do not need to sign him if you can go get T. Higgins. If you get bounced in the first round, you need T. Higgins, and that's T. Higgins or bust. Because if you get T. Higgins, next year you have T. Higgins, Rashee Rice, a third-year Kadarius Toney, who hopefully has his confidence back, and Travis Kelce with Patrick Mahomes, and the defense that still is going to have Karlaftis, Michael Dana, and Derek Nottie. L'Jarius Sneed you can sign back if you just get T and you don't get Chris Jones. Trent McDuffie's in his third year. You've got Shamari Connor, who will probably be back in the rotation. Mike Edwards, maybe you re-sign him. I mean, there's a lot of good things. There's a lot of good things. I don't think you're getting both Hollywood Brown and T. Higgins. I think you get one of them. I would like T. Higgins. But knowing Brett Veach, if he's going to get anybody out of the cheaper option, which would be Curtis Samuel, which I also like, we'll see, though, man. Use hashtag Chiefs, get your question. And we're going to go on to a Cincinnati Bengals preview here, as we're going to be the second segment of today's show. Like we said, on to Cincinnati. Let's not worry about yesterday now. Let's kind of focus on what's the road ahead, how can you win, and ultimately what this game brings. Because Cincinnati and the Chiefs, I would argue, is everybody says, oh, the Chiefs have a rivalry with this team, rivalry with this team. If you want to talk about actual rivalries, it's probably the Chiefs and the Raiders and the Chiefs and the Bengals. Like, the Bengals do have a rivalry with the Chiefs because there's been so much history the past couple of years. Like, I just kind of formed it. Obviously, Joe Burrow not playing changed it. But let's get into this here. We're going to talk about the Chiefs versus Bengals here on the preview. So we'll talk about all of that here on today's show. And let's get right into it. Chiefs versus Bengals preview, NFL Week 17. As one Bill Belichick once said, it's on to Cincinnati. Let's forget about what happened last week, and let's talk about the Chiefs versus the Bengals here on the Chiefs Report by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Jay Sanders. And, well, it's a bounce-back week for the Chiefs once again. They continue to have losses where the next week you got to win. And listen, this seems like one of those you have to win scenarios. Now, obviously, it's not going to be like, oh, if you lose, you're out of the playoffs. Not what's going to happen. As you have the scoring offense for the Bengals and the scoring defense, not exactly at the greatest clip. Meanwhile, Kansas City, the scoring offense, well, they're doing pretty good. 22.2, 12th in the league, and their scoring defense is literally the second best defense in the NFL. The Chiefs are better in almost every stat over the Cincinnati Bengals. They should come out to this game, play with fire, play with poise, and get their first win at Arrowhead since October 22nd. Yes, you heard me right. October 22nd was the last time they won at Arrowhead. This game will be played on New Year's Eve, December 31st. That's 2 months plus of no wins at your home stadium. Not a good look. Not a good look. But it should be a perfect time for it. You got to go out there and win this game, especially when it's not Joe Burrow. It's Jake Browning at quarterback. And if you look at the stats, obviously he played less game than Patrick Mahomes, but comparing these two quarterbacks, Jake Browning played good for a couple of games. And then he decided to say, you never should have effing cut me after he beat the Vikings. And then last week, he did not look good, which I could have predicted. When you say something like that, the next week tends to be something of a disappointment. Now, do I think he has a good arm? Do I think he has a good poise? Do I think Jake Browning is a good quarterback? Yes, I think I understand exactly what he is. But should the Chiefs go out here and whip him up? Yes, I also agree. This guy is good. But when you have a great defense, this offense just needs to score 20 points. If you can score 20, you're probably going to win. Problem is, the Chiefs offense has not exactly been the greatest at scoring 20. Now, I think that the Bengals and the Chiefs have somewhat of a bigger rivalry than maybe anybody else that likes to call a Chiefs rivalry. Like, we heard Tyreek Hill say the Chiefs offense is a rivalry. No. Heard freaking Bills Chiefs is a rivalry. No. Chiefs Raiders, I mean, yeah, because they're in the division, but you want to talk about a real rivalry, it's these two teams, the Chiefs and the Bengals. And it's because of the really recent historic record between these two. Past 3 matchups have been 1-3 in favor, or 1-2 in favor of the Bengals, who've won 2 of them. Now, the Chiefs won the most recent matchup, 23-20, in the AFC Championship game last year to reach the Super Bowl and go take on the Philadelphia Eagles, who they ended up winning. Well, the past 2 games, though, wasn't actually their shot. In 2022, last year, they lost 27-24 against the Bengals, and that was where the whole Burrowhead started to come up. And, well, we know how that went in the AFC Championship game, and we know what Travis Kelce liked to say with that. Now, in 2021, different situation. The Bengals beat the Chiefs as 27-24, same score in overtime to head to the AFC Championship game as they headed to their Super Bowl, and they lost to the Los Angeles Rams. So a lot of history between these teams and a lot of fun games, I think, is kind of the same thing. But you look at these 3 records, these teams are having a very different year than what they had. I mean, this year has been completely different for both the Bengals and the Chiefs. Now, the Bengals have been one thing of, well, Joe Burrow's been injured. The Chiefs have been, our offense cannot score. It cannot work. And nothing overall has been going well, which is understandable. And for both these teams, it's looking for a big, high-caliber win. For the Bengals, I mean, at this point, they have to win out to even have a shot at the playoffs. And even that's kind of pushing the pressure here. So they're coming and playing in Arrowhead for a shot at the playoffs. Chiefs, you win, you're in the playoffs. Big game on both sides. You got to come out here and be the one that is more ready to go. Now, I mentioned how the Chiefs are better than the Bengals in pretty much every stat. Let's look at their defense. They are ranking 31st in yards given up a game. They are ranking 28th in passing yards given up a game. And they are ranking 26th in rushing yards given up a game. This Bengals defense is not good. I mean, you're giving up almost 400 yards a game is not a good clip. Almost 275 yards on passing is also not good. I mean, this is a perfect game for Patrick Mahomes to really just try. I mean, Cam Taylor-Britt is a good corner. Obviously, we don't know he'll be on the field, but at the same time, it's just hard because you got to go out there, and Mahomes has to trust and throw it and let it fly, which we did not see against the Las Vegas Raiders this past Monday on Christmas. You got to go out there and let him sling the thing. And I think that needs to be schemed up by Andy Reid and Matt Nagy. And I think Patrick Mahomes needs to have a little bit of faith and trust in that scheme and ultimately in his team. Will the offense be able to get back on track? We saw the stats that the Cincinnati Bengals defense has been giving up this year. Do you think it's a time for the offense to get on track in this season with this game? I want you to let me know in the comment section of today's video. Type Y for yes. Type N for no. Get in the comment section. Will the offense get back on track in this game against the Bengals? Y for yes. N for no. There is one stipulation to this. Pacheco does have a concussion. Well, we don't exactly know if he'll be available to play on this Sunday's game on New Year's Eve. So could be down a lot of running backs, and that creates a huge problem. Jerick McKinnon IR, there goes one. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is fine, but Pacheco, if he's out, you're left with your running back 3 and LaMichael Pirine, who was just pulled up from the practice squad and signed to the active roster this week. It's going to be a tough day if your running backs are Clyde and LaMichael. Now, I do trust both of them, but there is something to be said about having a bell cow back in Pacheco and then losing him in a certain point in the season, especially when the passing game has been struggling at times. The running game has been able to open it up. And plus, honestly, passing to Pacheco has been really fun this year. I like to see what he can do. Hopefully we'll see him, but as of right now, we don't exactly know if it's for certain he will play on Sunday. I will say there is one thing for certain that I'll be playing on Sunday. That is Prize Picks. Now, Prize Picks is the #1 daily fantasy sports app in North America, and it's clear to see why. Because it's a skill-based, real money, daily fantasy sports game, and with basketball season here, it's the perfect time to start on Prize Picks. You can pick combo projections across the NBA and NFL. So you can pick the more on Travis Kelce touchdowns and the more on Jason Tatum points. You can go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use that code CLNS for a first deposit match of up to $100. Here are my picks for the Saturday game with the Lions and the Cowboys. As I've got Jared Goff, the more on passing yards. Dak Prescott, the more on passing yards. And I've got Amon-Ra St. Brown, the more on receiving yards. I like the offensive plays here in this game. I've got the more across my entry here on Prize Picks. You can go fade me. You can go put in the same entry. You can go check it out if there's other picks that maybe you like better because they've got tons of selections. They've got receptions, rush attempts, freaking receiving yards in the first 2 catches, rushing yards in the first 5 carries. They've got a ton of different stat types, so go check it out. Once again, quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what makes PrizePicks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. So go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use that code CLNS for a first deposit match of up to $100. We're going to put that link in the chat and go check it out, as it's going to be in the description as well. Shout out to PrizePicks. It's daily fantasy sports made easy. The one worry in this game that I have is that the Chiefs' running defense is not good. We saw that yesterday, or excuse me, a couple days ago with Zamir White. He got 130 on you. The guy had been averaging like 10 yards a game. Now, obviously, he's not the main running back, so that's why he's been averaging that. But in the NFL, the Chiefs are 18th in terms of giving up running yards at 113.5. And the Bengals somewhat have a strength at running back. I will say that it's not exactly the greatest average, but there is something with how Joe Mixon runs the ball. He has an average of 3.9, and overall his stats are pretty solid. 222 carries, just under 1,000 yards, probably going for that in these next two games, 8 touchdowns. And Mixon has had some times against some Chiefs sometimes. Let's just say he can really turn it on at times. And him and Chase Brown, who is somebody to be worried about as well, the backup running back for the Bengals, have both been really kind of playing at an elite level the past couple weeks. And they've been scoring touchdowns. So you got to keep worrying about them. Jake Browning is one thing, and I don't think he's amazing. But you also have to look at this and see what Joe Mixon will do and how to defend it. Because if you can't defend Zamir White, then you've got to be able to defend a guy like James Conner. There's a lot of things that needs to happen. And hopefully, Joe Mixon will be able to be shut down by the Cincinnati Chiefs. Or the Kansas City Chiefs. Good grief. Who you got in today's game? I want you to type KC for the Kansas City Chiefs or type CIN for the Cincinnati Bengals. Let me know in the comment section of today's video. I'm going to pin this one at the top. So let me know who you got in this game. KC for Kansas City, CIN for Cincinnati. The wide receivers for the Bengals could also cause a challenge for this Chiefs defense, and not because I don't believe in the Chiefs cornerbacks. I trust in Trent McDuffie. I trust in L'Jarius Sneed and Jalen Watson. There's just a significant amount of receivers that the Bengals have that, honestly, each one of them could play at a top-tier level. Now, you have Jamar Chase, who we don't exactly know if he's going to play yet. We'll talk about that more here in a moment. But for now, let's look through these stats of these guys. You've got Jamar, T, and Tyler Boyd. Jamar over 1,000, even though he's missed a couple games. T. Higgins at 630, even though he's missed pretty much 5 games this year. Tyler Boyd has 634 and 2 touchdowns. All these guys are playing at elite caliber levels. And to be quite honest, Jamar and T are both wide receiver ones. In fact, T, he'll be a Chief next year. Calling it right now. I really would like that. But Jamar, he could be out this week. We don't have reports yet of official status for him. He missed last week's game against the Pittsburgh Steelers on Saturday. Haven't had any reports since then. We don't know if he is going to be ready, available to play. Don't know if it's going to be one of those game time decisions. If they're without him, I think it makes it to where this Chiefs team can't lose this game. Like if you lose this game to a Bengals team without Jamar Chase after you just lost to a Raiders team without Josh Jacobs, I just don't know what to tell you. To be quite honest with you, I mean, at that point, I think you're stepping on nails. There's just so much bad things happening that it's a lot. You got to go in there and win if Jamar's not playing. If he is playing, okay, well, defense got to step up because there's three guys you got to cover. But overall, you got to come out here and play a competitive game. Want you to predict the score for this game, Chiefs versus Bengals, no matter who's on the field. Give me a score prediction in the comment section below. I'm going to give you mine here in just a second, but give you some time. Go put that score prediction, scroll down, and let me know what you're thinking for this game. I'll give you a second to do that here. Here's my score prediction. I've got Kansas City beating the Bengals 20-14. Like I said, if the offense can score 20, you will win. I think that's what's going to happen. 20-14, and I know that seems a little close. I think it's 20-7, and the Bengals score a touchdown in the fourth quarter, make it 20-14. I think the Chiefs get up 14-7, score a couple field goals in the third quarter, fourth quarter, and it's 20-7, and then the Bengals get a little, I'm not going to say last-second touchdown, but later touchdown in the fourth quarter to make it just look like a one-score game. So that's my score prediction, but we will be live for this game here on the Chiefs Sport. Game kicks off at around 3:25. We'll be live right here on the Chiefs Sport around 2:30, maybe 2:45. We'll see what we get out here. But we're also finishing off our December challenge. We've got Will Markham and Ronald Akers battling it out for the custom Chiefs jersey. You could technically still get in that battle as well if you want to join us. 2:30 p.m. or Central Time. We'll be live for that game. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and join us for that game. If you turn on the notifications, you're going to get an alert 30 minutes before we go live. We appreciate everybody. If you mentioned this in this video, we really, really appreciate it. Type real one if you did. Little secret message for me. Peace out. Let's go. The way those balls been lately, you won't make a 20-yard field goal. Yeah. Ball's been a little low. I like the score predictions here. Dean Duo saying 31-13. Tony Fuentes saying 35-26. Alicia saying 32-21. Dakota Wolf saying 32-17. Tony Fuentes saying 35-26. Next year, Chiefs signed 2 veteran wide receivers, Mike Evans, T. Higgins, or Mike Evans and Calvin Ridley. I don't want Calvin Ridley. Got to be quite honest. Dude's 29. I don't think anybody realizes that. Deborah Lewis, 24-21. Chiefs. Official Q saying 28-14. I just have a hard time predicting the Chiefs offense to score more than 21. Like I anything at 30, I just get it makes me really hard to see it. Alicia, if it's a blowout, I think I would jump for joy. Like, you had a blowout against the Bears, and everything was like, oh, we're fine. And then nothing happened. They just couldn't do it. Could see a blowout there, but Tony Fuentes saying 35-26. Good score there. Mike Evans and Justin Jefferson and Travis Kelce. What a trio that would be. Next year. You see what I see? That Pat is really showing the trust issue of the wideouts. Of course, the game yesterday. It did. It did. Very good. Here, you want to, do we have that, yeah. There we go. All right, use hashtag Chiefs. This text helping me out getting that graphic up there. Use hashtag Chiefs if you want to get on our mailbag here. He's going to get everything set for that. Oh, my photo didn't go in. Dang it. Oh, well. It's just a marshmallow. Anyway, hashtag Chiefs. Let me know what you're thinking, what questions you want, and we will see what we're going to have here on today's mailbag. Hashtag Chiefs. You can also super chat to get on. Luckily, we got text, so he'll be sure to put it on as quick as possible if you get it. Plus a personalized Chiefs chat for you. Pretty good. Pretty good. Hashtag Chiefs. Then your question. We'll get you on today's video and let you keep us in here and talk about what we're doing. Yeah. Alicia, I kind of agree with that. We're answering all these questions here in just a moment, so keep putting those hashtag Chiefs in there. I'm not throwing in the towel. Me either, Tony. We're not throwing in the towel here. We're not doing that. By the way, we got 65 people in here, and we're at 42 likes. It'd be really cool if we can get to 50. We need 8 more. Hit that like button. I'd really appreciate it. Helps us out. It's free. It's easy. Takes 2 seconds, and you're never really going to see it again. Just hit that like button. It just helps us out, and it's the easiest way to show that support. We need 7 more likes to get to 50. I'd really appreciate it. We got 60 people in here, plus 60 plus people in here, and we have 43 likes. Just hit that like button real quick for me. Takes 2 seconds. I really appreciate it. We're at 44. Hey, we only got 6 left. 6 more left. I'd really appreciate it, guys. Plus, we all know that if you like the video, the Chiefs are more likely to win this week. So it's pretty much science. Just don't be the jinx. Don't be the jinx. I don't think we haven't gotten enough likes on our live streams the past couple weeks. That's been the problem. 3 more likes. Tell you what, let's get to 50, and then we're going to go to the mailbag. Let's get 3 more likes. All we need 3 more likes. We'll go to the mailbag right away. Two more likes now. I just need 2 more. It's science. You like the video? The Chiefs will win this weekend. Science. Pretty big science. Oh, I'm gone. Where am I? I'm a ghost. Oh, we lost 2 likes. We gained 1 like. 2 more likes. 2 more likes. Trying to get to 50 here, and we'll head off to this mailbag. Just hit that like button. It takes 2 seconds. I'd really appreciate it. Got a mailbag coming up. Keep using hashtag Chiefs, super chat, skip the line, and get into this video here. You good? Sweet. All right, let's get going here on the Chiefs support, hashtag Chiefs, and we're we're going to get into this Chiefs mailbag. So we're going to start talking about it right here. Chiefs mailbag today, starting off strong here. You're watching the Chiefs Report by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Jay Sanderson. Without further ado, it's time for the best part of the week. We're going to talk some Chiefs news, some Chiefs rumors, and answer some questions that you asked today, all right here on the Chiefs Report. Let's start with the first question coming from a real one, Tony Fuentes, saying, is there a way to bring back Eric Bieniemy? I think there is, but I think it's going to take some money that the Chiefs weren't willing to spend last year. And so I don't know if they'll be willing to spend this year. Bieniemy was bought out with Washington, and you got to kind of go in here and say, I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know if you'll be able to kind of go out and get that guy back. Honestly, I think he's in line for a head coaching job somewhere at the end of the season. He's done pretty well with Washington for the weapons he's been given. Obviously, they're not great, but he's done okay with that offense. There is some part of me, though, they fire Ron Rivera and he doesn't want to stay. Maybe he does come back to Kansas City. Maybe it does work out. We'll see, though. I will say I don't trust Matt Nagy. I don't trust him. The Bright Wolf, another real one, coming in with a question saying, draft Marvin Harrison Jr. I certainly would love to. That would solve so many problems. The only problem, that would cost an arm or a leg, and you don't have that. It would just take too much. I mean, I get it, you're 9-6, but at the same time, it's one of those things of how exactly are you going to trade to get to a top 5 pick, probably a top 3 pick to get Marvin Harrison? I mean, there's talk that the Bears may stick at 1 and just take Marvin Harrison there. I just don't see that happening. As much as I would love to, it doesn't seem like a possibility right now, which, hey, it's all right. Rashee Rice, the best wide receiver in this year's draft class for the Chiefs, was a 2nd-round pick, and he's been playing great. He's the best wide receiver on the Chiefs right now as a rookie. So doesn't always have to be a top pick to get a good wide receiver. Next question coming from Roasted and Toasted, saying, hashtag Chiefs, will Matt Nagy be fired after the season if the Chiefs don't figure it out? I think he will. I truly think if the Chiefs offense cannot figure it out, they're going to switch him out. Now, I don't know if they'll necessarily fire him. I don't know if it'll be one of those of maybe moving him to a different part on the staff, kind of like it was last year with the enemy, or move him to a different section. Let him go be a quarterback's coach. Let him go be somewhere else. I don't know if he'll do that because Andy Reid's a guy's guy. He likes his guys, and he wants to keep them on staff. So I don't know that I'll fire him and just let him go, but I would highly expect him to not be in charge of the offense if this does not get figured out within the next couple of weeks. Would you like to see Matt Nagy fired? I want you to let me know in the comment section of today's video. I am kind of curious to see how Chiefs Kingdom feels about this. We've seen some mixed opinions in all of this here. I want you to type F for fire. I want you to type K for keep. Let me know what you're thinking in the comment section. Would you like Matt Nagy to be fired or kept? F for fired, K for keep. Bright Wolf saying, get rid of Travis Kelce. Too focused on Taylor Swift, and it's ruining his game. I somewhat agree with this, but I think there's also something else that you may be missing. Kelce is getting up there in age, and he said earlier this year, I'm a lot closer to retiring than people think. I think there's age catching up to him, and to be quite honest with you, I think his life outside of football has just grown so big that it's sometimes hard to focus. And it's not just Taylor Swift. That's part of it, of course, but there's also talk of his podcast. His podcast with his brother is one of the biggest podcasts on earth right now. Like, New Heights is going to literal new heights. Like, it's taking off. It's making a ton of money. It's a lot to kind of handle. And obviously, he's been able to do it both. And past couple of years, he's understood it. But there is some part of it where if it's 3 of these things combined, you have Taylor Swift, you have his podcast going on, along with him saying, I'm close to retiring, more close than you think. Maybe there's some thought to that, his off-field life is just taking precedent right now, and that's his choice, unfortunately. But we'll have to see. I don't know that he will retire after this year, especially with the way it's gone. So we'll have to see, but I certainly don't want to get rid of Travis Kelce. I will say that. Luca coming in with the chat saying why they don't give Ross or James MVS's snaps. Yesterday, MVS had 80% of snaps, and he did nothing give Ross a chance. Yep, I appreciate it, Luca. Did want to say something. He said yesterday, we're filming this on our live show. So if you're watching this on Saturday, we're filming this on Tuesday of our live show. That's why he said yesterday. But MVS did have 80% of snaps versus the Raiders, which is kind of crazy because that should not happen. MVS had 80% of the snaps and had 1 target. What? This dude also lined up offsides, by the way, which I kind of looked at it. It wasn't really offsides. But either way, I completely am 100% agree with you, Luca. It's wild. Ross or Richie should be getting both of those snaps. I mean, it's one thing of MVS tests of the talent, but if Mahomes doesn't trust him, then he shouldn't be on the field. Completely there. That's one thing. But hey, hopefully we'll see what can happen here in the next coming weeks. I do agree, though. Hopefully seeing more of Richie James and Justin Ross. Well, I'll tell you what, we're filming this on Tuesday, but I know you're seeing this on Saturday, some of you. So wish everybody a happy new year in the comment section of today's video as, hey, tomorrow, if you're watching this on Saturday, it's New Year's Eve. And then guess what? We are in 2024. Crazy. Crazy to think about it. I want you to type HNY for Happy New Year in the comment section as it's going to be a fun time. And, well, let me know in the comment section there if you're supporting everybody's troops and using that HNY to wish everybody in Chiefs Kingdom a Happy New Year's. I'm going to wish myself a Happy New Year's by going to Prize Picks and winning some of my entries. I'll tell you what. I've got my entry already placed for Saturday, and I'm telling you, it's a heater. It's a heater. Now, Prize Picks is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America, and that's the easiest and most exciting way to play DFS. It's just you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you watch the winnings roll in. Here are my Saturday picks for tonight's game, as I've got Jared Goff, the more on passing yards. I've got Dak Prescott, the more on passing yards, and I've got Amon-Ra St. Brown, the more on passing, or rather receiving yards. I'm going more across the board. We've seen that when Dallas plays a game inside of Jerry's World, inside of AT&T Stadium, the offense tends to go off, and I think the bad defense of the Lions will probably help with those yards for Dak Prescott. But I will say this, the good offense of the Lions will probably break this Cowboys defense. So go check it out at prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match of up to $100. Testing my skills on Prize Picks this season is the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. And if you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what makes Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Once again, prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use code CLNS for a first deposit match of $100. Go check it out. Next question coming in from Shad Jameson saying, besides wide receiver, where's the Chiefs' biggest weakness? That's a good question. I think there's a lot of ways I think you might be able to go with this. But at the same time, I think this one's more to injury. I think it's probably safety is probably what I would say. I like Mike Edwards. I like Joshua Watson, but I just don't know who behind them. Like Justin Reed is good. Mike Edwards has been pretty decent. Brian Cook was injured though. I think that's probably the one thing because the offensive line has been solid up until this past game against the Raiders. Obviously the Titans have been great. Obviously wide receivers taken out of it. Defensive line has been great. You have really good names like George Karlaftis and other guys who are stepping up, even with Chris Jones still there. You have your linebacker core of Drew Tranquill and Nick Bolton, who are doing great, and Willie Gay Jr., Leo Chenal, all playing amazing. Your cornerback room of L'Jarius Sneed and Trent McDuffie are playing great. You have Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback. I would say safety is probably the one. It's kind of hard, though, because with safety, you have injuries with Brian Cook, something that may be the one problem, but I would say safety would probably be the one. Travis Fan 87 coming in here with the next question, right? Got the next question rolling in here. I think we have. There it is. Travis Fan number 87, as he says, who do you blame for the Chiefs' struggles this year? Bouncing right back off that question, kind of in a way. And wide receivers are the first one, but there has to be some blame placed on Brett Veach. He ultimately designed this team. He was the one who ultimately said, we don't need a wide receiver, guys. We won last year without him, right? And now here we are, 9-6. I think there has to be some point where you have to look at this team and say, Brett Veach did not do his due diligence to come out here and basically say, I care about this team. Say, I want to put my time in this team. It didn't seem like he did that. All he did was draft Rashee Rice, who's been great. But their first-round pick, Felix Anudike-Uzomah, has barely seen the field. I don't know, man. I think it's a lot of things that you could probably put a blame on. Maybe Andy Reid a little bit. Maybe Matt Nagy probably a lot. But Brett Veach has to be one to start taking a little bit of this backlash. Let's go to the next question here. This one coming from Luca. Once again, Luca, what's up, man? Put Matt Nagy as QB coach if he is good with Mahomes, but he can't be OC or head coach. I completely agree. It's kind of what I was saying a couple minutes ago of if Matt Nagy is going to stay on the squad, it'll be as a QB coach, which I think Patrick likes Nagy for the most part. And Nagy has been okay as a QB coach. I don't mind that. Put him there. That way he's still on staff, but he should not be scheming the offense. Now, the problem is, are you really going to go tell that guy, hey, you're going to be the QB coach and expect him to stay? I don't know about that. I mean, could he go get an offensive coordinator position somewhere else? Maybe he just quits. We'll have to see, though. I would like that, but there probably has to be a little bit of kind of pride to this, so we'll have to see. Last question here. Let's go. TH saying we should use Kadarius Toney as a Debo-type player. I could not have said this better. I keep saying that Kadarius Toney should just be Debo. Like, literally, give him the jet sweeps. Give him the snaps. Give him the screens. Don't let him go downfield. Just screens and running plays. Now, Debo can go down the field, but I don't think we should use Kadarius Toney that way. But jet screens, sweeps, I love that idea. I think that would be great. I think that would make this team so much better. And Kadarius Toney would be such a better player. He's a gadget player. That's what he's been his career. Use him that way. And then once that starts rolling, once he gets his confidence back, then you can start trying to implement some deeper routes, some longer routes, some mid-range routes even. Just anything to get this guy going. Like the video if you want the Chiefs to beat the Bengals as we end today's live show and in today's mailbag here. We appreciate everybody watching on the live show. We appreciate everybody watching on the mailbag as we appreciate all your support all year long. It's still not over yet. We appreciate you. Peace out, Chiefs Kingdom. Let's go, guys. Anybody tired? Bro, Sam's trolling me. Sam the producer, bro? What do y'all think? I think we gotta fire him. He's not good. Well, my thing is like the problem is, and I say this in the nicest ways possible, he is a poison to every single organization he's been into. The Bears, not good. I mean, he's Jace for GM. I love it, Dean Duo. I'm assigning T. Higgins tomorrow. Bro, make me the coach. See you, Ty, man, if you're still on here. Just ignore ignorance. Oh, man. Should we trade for Pitts? He has big talent. By the way, big support from Croatia. What's up, Luca? I appreciate you, Luca, hanging out. I like Kyle Pitts. He'd be a good one, especially if Kelce retires. I do say, though, if you have a mid-round pick and you have already got T. Higgins, part of me says draft Jatavion Sanders. Good guy out of Texas, tight end. He's a Kyle Pitts-like tight end player. Jatavion will be good. Yeah, Jatavion's amazing. If Kelce played and you had Jatavion, because like trading for Kyle Pitts would be a lot. But Jatavion's a very similar player to Kyle. Maybe not as good, but very similar. And I mean, I went and watched the Big 12 championship. Go Poke still, even though we lost. I kind of expected it. Jatavion's freaking amazing. He's also huge. He's Kyle Pitts. He's big and lanky, but he's not like the big like Travis Kelce tight end. He's just strong, to be quite honest with you. But if you get, I would love that. If you lose in the first round, get a mid-round pick, you pick up Jatavion, trade your second rounder to get in the back of the first, and take Adonai. Welcome to Kansas City, Texas. Kansas City, Texas, everybody. you had Keandre Coburn, not anymore, but you have Charles Omenihu, you have Adonai Mitchell, and you have Jatavion Sanders. That'd be great. Lucas says we should draft a tight end this year because Kelce will help him get better. I kind of agree. Like if you're a mid-round pick and all the good wide receivers are gone, Malik Neighbors, obviously Marvin Harris is probably going to be gone. Keon Coleman's good. The one where I have with that TH, Keon has shown some problems and the ability to separate from defensive backs. And in college, if he can't separate from defensive backs, in the NFL, it's going to be even harder. So it'd be tough. I like the way he catches the ball. He's a good high pointer, similar to Justin Ross. Keon be good, but it's the same thing. Keon be great, but he's had struggle with separation, which I'm not going to say this in any malicious intent. If you're Florida State fans, Florida State plays bad competition, so if he's not beating bad competition in college, how is he going to play in the NFL? I'm just concerned. I think he will be good. I'm just concerned, and I'm not willing to take the risk on that. Nagy got bounced in the Bears deal. He ain't getting a job other than junior college community coach. That's funny. That's funny. Also, I like that you put junior college community college coach. See you, Deborah. All right. Well, I enjoyed talking to y'all guys. Jatavion will probably be my pick to kind of there. Devontae Walker from North Carolina. That'd be good too. A good solid wide receiver. So, all right. Well, I think that's it for us. We need to get rid of these receivers that are taking all the cap space, making 4 people. MVS will be gone next year. I have no doubt about that. $14 million, one last year on his deal. If Jace was the GM, the Chiefs would be undefeated. Bro, I know what I'm talking about. Sometimes I know what I'm talking about. And with the Chiefs at this point, I feel pretty confident I could go in there, and this offseason I could have made it to where you make one move, and this team is a lot better. I don't know about undefeated, but you make one move, I could make it to where 3 losses. Right now, you're 12-3. Anyway, all right. Well, we appreciate all you watching. We appreciate hanging out with us, especially on a loss Tuesday. I know sometimes it's hard, but hey, sometimes that creates for more talking points, and that's why we're here. So appreciate you watching. Appreciate TechSuck put us out, and we will talk to all of you later on. We're going to have a video out today. You saw it already, though, because you're cool. I'll tell you what. Anybody still in here, I want you to do me a favor. We're going to give a special secret code to anybody who watched today's live show. You go in the comment section of today's video that I'm going to post here in a little bit. You've already seen it because you're on the live show. So you saw that first segment. That's going to be posted today. I want you to go in there, and I want you to do this. Go in there and type Mahomes. That way I know you watched the live show. I'm going to give you a little heart on that message. Go type Mahomes on that video. I'd certainly appreciate it. Plus, I know who my live show gang is. Appreciate all of you again for text. I'm Jace. Peace out.